Welcome to Mindly Way, where we explore life philosophies to grow and find the right path. Get ready to listen for an inner journey. We are rarely alone amid the cacophony of today's society, as information and farts continuously flood our minds. However, what if spending genuine alone time could be the key to turning your life around? The great samurai Miyamoto Musashi lived a solitary life, perfecting his skill and formulating his philosophy, which culminated in his final book, Dokudo, or The Way of Walking Alone. Musashi left us with 21 principles that help people live full lives enhanced by the power of isolation. Come explore Musashi's philosophy of solitude and learn how spending time alone can really improve your life. Before delving into the insightful ideas he left behind, let's first explore the identity of Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi was a highly regarded individual, a nomadic samurai known as a ronin. In 1584, Musashi was born in a Japan ravaged by civil wars. Although his sword skills were unmatched, it was his profound wisdom that inspired us and continues to do so. Many decades later, he was still an artist, philosopher, and most famously, a skilled swordsman who had won over 60 fights, many of them to the point of death. However, his journey had not been one of unending bloodshed, but rather one that led to profound reflection and insight. Musashi's life was characterized by an unwavering quest for self-mastery via self-control, discipline, devotion, and most importantly, solitude. Musashi's concept of solitude was not a hermit-like life apart from civilization. Rather, it was a self-imposed mental state of mind in which the noise of the outside world was suppressed. He promoted introspection and a distraction-free mind as the means of achieving self-improvement. His Dokudo, which translates to the path of walking alone, encapsulated this understanding. Through these precepts, he offered guidance on how to live without fear, regret, or distraction, and stressed the value of staying true to oneself. Let's now explore these teachings and discover how embracing solitude can profoundly change our lives. The value of isolation. In the silence and peace of solitude, he found clarity freed from the influence and judgment of others. It was an opportunity for him to learn, grow, and come to terms with his own strengths and weaknesses without the external noise that often clouds our judgment and self-perception. Musashi believed that solitude allowed him to sharpen his mind and body without distraction. Musashi also believed that solitude was a path to self-improvement and self-discovery. Think little of oneself, wrote Musashi. It's about letting go of ego and opening up to the vast knowledge the world has to offer. This humble self-awareness combined with a profound understanding of the world forges a formidable path towards self-improvement and personal growth. But how can we apply these ancient teachings to our modern lives? Let's look at some concrete ways to walk our own path of solitude. The Dokudo and deeply of the world urged people to turn their focus outward to observe, learn, and understand the world around them while maintaining a humble sense of self. Inspired by his wisdom, centuries later, Musashi developed these insights into the Dokudo, also known as the Path of Aloneness or the Way to Go Forth Alone, a brief work written a week before his death. The lessons he learned from solitude are not only applicable to the life of a samurai, but can also be applied to our lives today. One of the things that Musashi teaches us is the importance of self-reliance. He states in the Dokudo that one should not pursue pleasure for the sake of pleasure. This serves as a reminder that short-lived happiness that comes from material possessions or external validation does not lead to long-lasting fulfillment. Instead, Musashi encourages us to find fulfillment in our actions and in our personal development. Another important lesson in the Dokudo is the principle of do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. This tells us not to act impulsively based on fleeting emotions, but rather to carefully consider our actions and their consequences. Our decisions should be thoughtfully made, fully conscious, and independent. Moreover, Musashi emphasizes the Dokudo emphasizes the value of being detached from material belongings and temporary things. Do not hang on to anything you no longer require. The advice to let rid of pointless attachments encompasses more than simply tangible belongings. It also includes relationships, bad habits, and outdated ideas. These are just a few of the lessons that Musashi left us in his Do. It teaches us to be detached from desire your entire life long. This teaches us to free ourselves from the constant yearning for more that often leads to dissatisfaction and unhappiness. It's about learning to be content with what we have while still striving for self-improvement. Another precept he states is do not fear death. This is not a call to be reckless, but rather an encouragement to live fully and fearlessly with the understanding that death is a part of life. The world of today is very different from the world of Musashi's time. Although technology can bring us closer together, it can also prevent us from truly being alone and experiencing solitude in all of its fullness. Nevertheless, as Musashi noted, solitude holds immense value for personal growth and self-understanding. So how can we put Musashi's lessons on solitude into practice in our connected world? First, we can practice solitude by setting aside time on a regular basis to escape the daily grind. This time can be spent in quiet reflection, taking a walk in the outdoors, or just sitting quietly in a room. Give yourself permission to reflect, think, and simply be. Then, think about engaging in digital detoxification, asserting our independence from the continual demands on our attention and making time for solitude. Setting out specific periods each day to unplug from our devices can provide us the much-needed space for introspection and inner calm. Thirdly, solitude encompasses mental and emotional isolation in addition to physical isolation. This is about learning to let go of the need to fit in, the need to compare oneself to others, and the need for approval. It's about learning to stick to our convictions and make the right judgments, even when they don't align with the opinions of others. Finally, give solitude top priority. The world may have changed since Musashi lived there, but the lessons he learned in solitude are still relevant today. By applying these principles to our lives, we can learn to not only be alone, but also to thrive in it and find inner peace and fulfillment. Embracing solitude and overcoming its challenges can be difficult because doing so often goes against our natural tendency to connect with others and feel alone or rejected. In our increasingly connected world, choosing to be alone can even seem counterintuitive or counterproductive. First of all, it's critical to distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is an unwelcome emotional condition characterized by emotional anguish and a sense of social isolation or cutoffness. It is a detachment. Alternatively, one can understand that solitude is a state of positive and constructive engagement with oneself rather than an all-or-nothing proposition. To experience solitude, one need not live as a hermit or retreat into a cave. Rather, it is about striking a balance. It's about scheduling times each day for reflective, quiet alone. Thirdly, keep in mind that solitude necessitates intentionality. It's a purposeful act of consciousness to set aside time for your own reflections and thoughts. Finally, learn to appreciate the discomfort that can accompany alone. This discomfort can indicate personal progress as it indicates that you are pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone and challenging yourself. Conclusion: the journey through Miyamoto Musashi's life and teachings is a powerful reminder of the significance of solitude in personal growth and self-realization. The path to self-mastery often requires walking alone. The journey may not be easy, but it is undoubtedly rewarding, and perhaps as Musashi did, you too will discover that being alone can indeed be beneficial. Musashi understood the challenges of embracing solitude, but he also recognized its benefits.